What is up, my fellow Intrevians? I am Logan, the Totally Epic Gamer, and today we'll be joining random games with the Fixing Wave build to show you how strong Fixing Wave can really be. You know, not a lot of people focusing on it, almost nobody puts it on their skill bar. But today, I'm going to show you the true power of it in a team environment. Random people are going to love this build. They're going to want me in their games. They're going to want me to stick around. They're going to want me to just really heal them and carry them through every single endeavor. Okay, maybe we'll try it again. We'll try it again. What is up, my fellow Intwebians? I am Logan, the Totally Epic Gamer, and today we're going to be showing you the Fixing Wave build. It is tremendous. It is amazing. It does everything right and everything more. And of course, matchmaking can only make it better with latency. So, going through the build, we're running all the gadgets: Fixing Wave, Cold Snap, Cryo Turret, and that's where our power is coming from. We are the utility machine that you are about to see before you. And of course, since I've joined a matchmaking and he's halfway through, I'm going to have to run to him. I did not spawn beside him. That would be ridiculous. So, I do my due diligence and I run right towards him. You know, if you see at the end that he had a little bit more damage than me, it's because he started before me. It's not because this build doesn't do enough damage. It does excellent damage. Fixing Wave is truly the king build that everybody will be running from here on out. They'll be saying Blighted round 2, and I'm going to show you why. Have you ever seen that tooltip right there? That tooltip? Toxic. Healing removes toxic status. Cue Celine Dion music, baby. Look at that. Watch it fade away. Watch that toxic go. Have you ever seen that before? No, because you've never ran Fixing Wave on your class ever. But me, I know the true power. That tooltip doesn't bother me anymore. Now I just know, you're right. I will use the only healing ability in the game, and boom, nobody's got toxic anymore. That's it. I am the savior here, and I'm the real reason we're doing damage. You know, 10,000 damage per shot, not our goal, okay? Our damage comes from other sources. We're popping people with Icicle Storm and Scrap Grenade. It is how you really get it done. And you can see we're making great time here. You know, I've only been in this game for about a minute and a bit, but we're already clearing through it like hotcakes. I don't know what that means, truthfully, but that's how we're clearing through it. And you can see we're even getting the yellow bars now, which is just because Fixing Wave not only, you know, heals the players, but apparently the internet connection to matchmaking as well. But on a more serious note, Fixing Wave build, not fantastic. I tried my best with it, and I will show the build and all of the things I chose at the end, but it's very difficult to, you know, be useful in. And in today's matchmaking, it's hard. You know, people don't really care if you can heal them or keep them alive. They don't notice if they didn't die at a certain point. They just think they're gods. And so you kind of just have to hope you get a good team. This guy was a good guy. Didn't kick me from the party. I super enjoyed that. And we just keep throwing out pretty much as much AoE damage and utility help that we can. We throw it on our cryo turrets all the time, and of course we're running certain mods that will not only replenish mags but give people a bunch of armor and resistance when we pop our Fixing Wave. So we actually use Fixing Wave pretty often off cooldown. You can see I'm actually holding it here because I'm waiting for that toxic, baby. Once I get hit with that toxic, boom, everybody's getting healed. So it has actually like multiple purposes. Is it useful? More useful than if you just help them kill in the first place? No, not really. There's better things that you could do, even in the sense that, oh, but maybe I'm giving my teammates, you know, anomaly power or weapon damage through my class tree. That's not really the case. For some reason, most of them just give you damage and anomaly power, which isn't helpful. And on top of that, anomaly power only affects your cryo turret, not cold snap, unless you have the cold snap mods. And those don't really do too much damage. So it's really not helpful to get those either. And that's why you see I'm actually running the Borealis set. I'm just trying to be as helpful as possible, which is very difficult when you do not do enough damage. Realistically, most of your damage is always going to come from Icicle Storm and Scrap Grenade. And that's just because of the nature of the build. If you want to do a lot of damage, you really have to pick a different build. Or if you really want to be a utility machine, again, likely best if you just pick a different build. Fixing wave is just not fantastic, and there's a reason that a lot of people have avoided it. So this guy was nice enough to let me carry on with him, but you know, at the end you're going to see something you might have never seen before, only because you've never used Fixing Wave before. And I really tried. I tried the Anomaly build. It made no difference. Fixing Wave's healing is not based off Anomaly power. It's based off a flat percentage of their health multiplied by the healing received percentage attribute that they have, which they should never have. Healing received percentage as an attribute is just god awful in the first place, and nobody should ever have it. And you have some ways to give people more healing received, but I would never recommend that to anybody, you know? So hopefully nobody's actually running that, and in which case I'm healing them for about 33% wherever they are on the map, and giving them a bunch of armor and replenishing their mag once every 45 seconds. Now, why is the mod replenish their mag only once every 45 seconds and not no matter what when you use Fixing Wave? Well, because apparently that would make Fixing Wave too OP. Despite the fact that you have to go so deep into the tree and get no rewards out of it. It's really not an excellent build, and I would, you know, shy away from this build to the best of your ability. Maybe you can throw it into a Blighted Rounds build and make it work, but going down the gadget tree is never going to be helpful. Your teammates will always just appreciate if you were Blighted Rounds and did a lot more damage in the first place. Even here, somebody actually goes down because of my lack of ability to Fixing Wave them, but I make sure to heal them right up as soon as I can, because that's literally my only job, and I'm still failing at it despite it being the only thing that I'm trying to do in this video. So overall, nothing too fantastic to report. If anything, this video is less about how to make or what's great about the build and more why the build just doesn't work. It relies too heavily on matchmaking and playing with teammates in a matchmaking environment where it's not always fantastic. I actually couldn't find a game where I wasn't, you know, yellow barred or red barred, so that was unfortunate in and of itself. And also, it's difficult to communicate. Maybe if I could, you know, tell people like, hey, I have Fixing Wave right now, you can do whatever you want, I'm gonna heal you. Or if they're like, yo, I'm actually low on, you know, my magazine, can I get the Fixing Wave? I would hold on to it for them, and I would make sure that they don't lose it. You know, maybe on Yaga, where you want to start bursting him down right away with Blighted Rounds, but you know you can't waste Blighted Rounds since the Reavers are about to show up. Maybe I can be like, hey, I can replenish your mag, you guys will have it for the Reavers, we're gonna be okay. And then by the time that you've done enough damage and the Reavers are dead, I probably have Fixing Wave again, and we'll be back to our good old glory. But as you're about to see, you know, not a great time, 10:43, but we tried our best, and we really did get carried, and we tried to be helpful, but it just wasn't as good as it could have been. So I'm going to show the stats in a second of, you know, something you've probably never seen, which is my name under the healing. It doesn't say you got healed from Fixing Wave, it says you got healed from the name. And you know, I've never seen that before, but now they know that I healed them and I was helpful. At least that tiny little smidge. And then right after this, we'll get into the build and a little bit of why I chose the weapons I chose and what I, you know, tried to make it work with. But of course, it was not too fantastic. So stay tuned for that. If not, totally understand. Fixing Wave isn't for everybody. It's just for the super kings out there trying to give back to their teammates. So, moving on to the build. For everybody who wants to see it, this is the direction I took. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe you've got a way better idea for it, but I'm going to walk through my idea of what I wanted to do with the Fixing Wave build and why ultimately it didn't really work out for me. So, first things first, let's go through the class tree, you know? As per usual, we start off going down the middle, and right away you probably notice, hey, Logan, you're not going into the bottom tree at all. You're not going into the top tree at all. What are you doing, man? Grab some of the good stuff. Well, let's go through it. First, you know, we want to go to the end of the tree because we're getting some good gadget type things here, going to increase our healing, our ability to get our enemies, you know, or heal everybody up, make sure everybody's good. And we want to be able to get the vulnerability from Frost because that's really what we're doing. So let's kind of look through it a little bit. First things first, increases your max health by 10%. Perfect. Then we go down here and grab gadgets. Don't worry about this one. We'll come back to it. We grab the gadget cooldown. Of course, we want to be able to spam Cold Snap. We want to be able to spam Fixing Wave. So that's why we get that. Move into max health because we have to. Then here we get 10% extra damage on freeze enemies. Everything's going to be frozen most likely anyways. So that's obviously a good one. Here we get max health because we have to. Then, of course, cooldown is better than skill life leech. So we choose that. Skill life leech. We have Fixing Wave. What do we need skill life leech for? Of course, we're just going to go with Fixing Wave. Then we get health because we have to. Now, this is actually good. Freeze inflicts, the vulnerable status on people, and then we increase how much vulnerability they take. That's actually a pretty good stat because we're increasing the damage people are going to be taking, and we're increasing how effective it is. So that's fantastic. Here, freeze lasts 20% longer. That's great. It's pretty much like a shoe-in for our status power, so that's very good. Here we get weapon life leech. Not sure why we get it, other than the fact that it's on the tree and we have to. I'm just not sure why it's there. It's very not helpful. At a very similar part for other people, you can see here 30% long range damage. Pretty good. Anomaly power. Pretty basic. Pretty good. Here's resistance piercing. Why is this weapon life leech? This is not helpful at all. This is armor piercing. Very strong. This tree just needs a rework, if I'm being honest. It's just not helpful, a lot of the things that are here. Then we grab armor, again, because we have to. Here, we get something not bad. Whenever we use a gadget, all healing received by you and your allies is increased by 30% for 7 seconds. Pretty good. We only have gadgets, so we're pretty much spamming most of the time anyways. So Fixing Wave is actually doing a lot of healing. I found, for me, that my Fixing Wave would heal over 50% for most people. So if they ever got low, boom, they're pretty much back to full right away. And really, it's because this and this right here increase all healing by 20% for you and your allies. Quite useful. And then here we grab 30% more damage with freeze, which is actually very strong. But of course, you just went so deep into a tree getting nothing that 30% ends up looking pretty lackluster compared to all these where you're getting 8%, here, 10% here, 12% there. It's pretty lackluster in terms of the damage department. But this final one, activating gadget skills increases your anomaly and weapon damage by 40%. For 10 seconds upon losing all health, you will receive a second chance to return to the battlefield with 50% of your max health. The effect may occur once every 3 minutes. I don't know what this skill looks like. I don't know if it's bugged or if people don't just go this deep. I've never seen this actually work. I died a couple times trying to work through it and understand. For 10 seconds upon losing all health, you receive a second chance. I'm not sure what the 10 seconds means. Is it maybe I have to press a button right as it happens? But I just kind of straight up died when I died last time. So I'm not sure if there's some sort of damage issue there for me, but I take fairly low damage, and when I did die, I did not come back to the battlefield, I can tell you that much. So, not sure if this really works, but of course 40% damage for anomaly power weapon damage is great. Unfortunately, it's only your anomaly weapon damage. I would love if it's spread to everybody and spread to your teammates. Maybe it'd be more useful, but again, that's just not the way it is, so that's unfortunate. So, now let's go through why we picked the extra bits we did. Armor, resistance, wipeout. So you have 4 extra points. Why did I choose them in these sections? Well, when you have 4 points, there's not too much to do with it when you're in this tree. Maybe I go up here, grab some sniper weapon damage. Okay, maybe. Maybe I go up here, grab cannonade. Okay, well, we don't have any of those skills because we're trying to run a gadget build for Fixing Wave. So I guess that's kind of out of the question. Now, we go back down here and it's like, this isn't great either because this takes us to have blighted rounds or the turret. And grabbing anomaly power doesn't help because that only affects our cryo turret, and the cryo turret needs a lot of anomaly to increase damage. It is not a small amount. You need huge amounts of anomaly power to see any significant damage increase. So I was like, okay, well, let's grab the biggest bang for your buck. Let's become a tank. 20% armor, 20% resistance, makes you very beefy, unlikely to die, and that's why I died very little except for when attempting to die. And then I grabbed wipeout, just 20% more damage on 30% health enemies is just an overall great stat, so I just ended up picking it up. But the issue is I'm kind of pigeonholed. I can't grab any of the good stuff, because I can't fit it on the tree. And if I were to be able to fit it on the tree, like any of these extra skills, then I would actually just go down that pathway and throw in Fixing Wave in and of itself. But then what would be the point of Fixing Wave? I'd have to run at least Cold Snap and Fixing Wave, get to about here, and run down to this part of the tree. I want this section. So maybe it's best I go through the anomaly power field, but then what would be my other item? Would it be Scrapnel? Would it be maybe Tool of Destruction? These are all questions, but you have to get so deep in the tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. It's a lot of points. And I know I'm harping on this class tree, but You just don't have a lot of good options when you're trying to run the fixing wave gadget type build. I'm sure somebody's made it work, but optimally, it's never going to be great. There's always going to be something that you could have done otherwise, and the utility is just weak. And so, of course, the skills are the 3 gadget skills. I know I don't have them here, but let's just, throw them all back here. Cryo turret, fixing wave, cold snap. You have great cooldown timers. You can make it even less, and I'm going to go over how that's possible, but what kind of the restrictions are anyways. You can get fixing wave under 10 seconds. It's not too big of a difference, but could be quite good. Cold snap is obviously very strong. Getting that lower to about 12 seconds is good. But let's go over why maybe that's not always a great choice. Going through the inventory, the juggler, always good. Scrap grenade fortress, it's just the bread and butter. It's got skill life leech on it, sure. Armor pierce, sure. Close range, sure. We really just need an ability to do damage. We don't have a very good damage output, so running this is really our only option. I also put on the iceberg, winter blast, and fortress on it. It has status power and long range crit damage. I couldn't get it to work, but my idea was that if I shoot something from a long range, that it'd help my team. However, because the matchmaking is so difficult, I only ended up using it in solos, and it wasn't too great there, so I just kind of kept it as a secondary. It has the ability to commit a freeze, and maybe if you have a team that's really communicable and they're willing to try this build with you, I think Iceberg has some real potential with Winter Blast, getting a lot of freeze off so that your team can actually just clean up for you, because that's what this build really is set up for your team to knock them down. Moving on, we got the Crown of the Borealis, and you might be thinking, why aren't we running Anomaly Power? Well, mainly for that big point I made before. Despite using only spells, we don't really have a good way of doing anything with Anomaly Power. You can see here, Cryo Turret, 886 damage. If I switch over this to, let's say, this right here, Anomaly Power, I know that has it on it, 1100 damage. 400 damage per shot per, let's say, Anomaly Power item. It's just not enough. It doesn't do enough damage. You're gonna have to run the status power mod and the extra 5k damage mod that comes on cryo turret mods for the tier 1, and at that point I don't think it's really worth it. Might as well start running the turret build, because that's where you're focusing on. So going past that, moving into the deep dive mods of what makes fixing wave good, is that the headgear comes with twins. I thought that was great, good utility, but then I put Mr. Fix It on it. Activating the skill grants you and your allies 100% armor and 30% resistance bonus for 5 seconds. Now, that's pretty good. It's actually better than it seems. And the real reason is because 100% armor bonus actually shoots you up pretty high. You can see most people start at 50k around, and I'm at 87. Now, if you put another 40k on there, I'm going to be dropping another 12% reduction. But for everybody else, I'm adding 25k to them, dropping them another 10% reduction pretty much. So actually not bad, because I'm healing them because they're in a tight spot likely already, and on top of that I'm giving them an ability to survive even past that. It's almost like I'm giving them golem in a way, a very weak golem. Moving on, and you see that I actually am choosing the Borealis set partially because of the bonus firepower, because I have no other options, and the status power is also great, but more than that, they come with tier 3 mods on them, so I can already put another tier 3. It's my best bet. It was my best bet at doing good, So here we got Icicle Storm, pretty much the only required mod, because this mod in tandem with Scrap Grenade and Fortress can pretty much become a build on its own. It's just excellent on its own. We throw Shatter on there, makes it even better, makes the combo even stronger. It's really our only chance at being able to help out. Moving on here, Freezing Boost is obvious, but Frostbite, while frozen enemies have reduced armor by 35%. This is part of that utility thing. The damage you're providing and the help you're providing is just not noticeable on your side, but on everybody else's side it should hopefully be noticeable, and that way you're actually providing some sort of help. Now there's a thing to be said about, well, maybe I run cooldown reduction, get the lowest cooldown reduction and status power, and I run anomaly power instead, because what is bonus firepower really doing? These are great points. For me, I thought it was cool that I could run increased weapon damage by 90% on with the set bonus, and also being able to increase people's critical hit damage for 8 seconds. Not bad. That's about 50% uptime. I thought it was pretty strong, so I decided to run this way. And like I said before, being able to run tier 3 mods right away was kind of nice, doing double tier 3 mods like here, and I could have run it here, but I just decided not to. So it's kind of nice to have that already. Moving on here, Torrential Downpour gloves. Max health, not bad. Max health isn't actually bad, and you might be like, wow, never thought I'd hear you say that. Well, the real reason is because bonus firepower, not really helping you out. Anomaly power, not really helping you out. So max health is actually not terrible. The skilled life leech is okay. The cooldown reduction is excellent. As we talked about, cooldown reduction status power should be right at the top. Longer freezes are always good. More freezes are always good, and that's kind of why I run this. On top of this, you see that I have this kind of like mixed around. What you actually want is the radius on here. And I'll just fix that right away. And here you got max health, skill life leech, cooldown reduction. You got quartermaster and breathe in. This not really required, but reducing the skills cooldown by 20% is kind of cool. I didn't find it make too big of a difference in terms of just running around, although it could be quite, useful. I just don't get why quartermaster has a 45-second cooldown, because if you're running fixing wave, you're not OP. So why not just let it happen every fixing wave? It's already got a 12-second cooldown. If anything, you're kind of just making it really awkward, right? Because if you don't hit that 45-second cooldown right on the money, you might be really late on it. So it's not every 45 seconds you're going to be able to replenish their mag. Let's say you pop it at 44 seconds. Well, then you don't get the replenished mag, and then you got to wait another 12 seconds for me to do it again. So it's kind of awkward there. So we'll just fix this mod here, and I'll show you the final piece of what I was kind of talking about, where the part that's really useful is actually cold snap and less fixing wave, but fixing wave is good. Here, what I actually run is this: increase the radius of the skill by 66%. And this is huge, because radius is a lot bigger than you'd expect, right? Increasing it by 66%, that circle is becoming massive, and you're putting a lot of freeze down right away. You're really helping out the team, and it's really useful. But overall, fixing wave, I couldn't make it work. You guys let me know in the comments, could you make it work? Do you have a build? Do you have a way to make fixing wave actually useful? And is it actually pinnacle? And can't be switched in with something else to actually make it a lot better? Because personally, I couldn't find the way, but I'm excited to hear what you guys thought about it and what you guys think could possibly be a thing. I know this turned into more of a rant than anything, but I wanted fixing wave to be useful, and I was upset that it couldn't find its pathway, or I couldn't find its pathway. So hopefully you guys can, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, leave it a like. If not, let me know. And most of all, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Oh, and of course, thanks for watching.